Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion Issue 1 by Dennis Camp, Cody Ziegler, Jonas Scharf, and Edgar Delgado. Miles Morales takes a trip of a lifetime as Earth 6160, Ultimate Universe, finally crosses over with Earth 616. Not in the way everyone assumes it would, as Miles journals about how he's finally in a place where he thinks he can deal with anything life throws at him, remembering how the Maker offered him a way home, but he wasn't interested, already having made a life for him in Earth 616. Nevertheless, the Maker left him a business card in case he changes his mind. Ultimates writer Dennis Camp joins Miles writer Cody Ziegler to hash out what's going on with Miles and this new Ultimate Universe, and I love the way they approach it, bringing it back around to that little key that Hickman left right at the start of the Ultimate Universe with that card Maker left him, something that we haven't touched upon since that first issue of Ultimate Invasion. I also really like that Miles considers actually going through with this and actually following the Maker and his offer, thinking that it can fill a void he never knew he had, but then he quickly stamps it down, not wanting to doubt himself and where he is in his life. One night after putting his sister Billie to bed though, the card activates, and unfortunately Billie gets her hands on it. Miles' spider sense activates as he witnesses his sister pulled through a portal, transforming into his Spider-Man suit to try and save her, but loses her through a closing portal door within the strange dimension finds himself in. Billie meanwhile is spat out in a jungle where she is seemingly found by someone. Now obviously, jungle or this Ultimate Universe, I'm assuming she got spat out in Wakanda somewhere, and she's going to be found by Black Panther or someone related to Black Panther. Camp and Ziegler aren't wasting any time either here, just kind of getting us over into the Ultimate Universe, and I'm glad for it. They're delivering on what people want in this series. Miles over in the Ultimate Universe interacting with the Ultimates. What I like though is it's not just Miles going alone though. His little sister is there, and it kind of gives him a bit more stakes than wanting to actually go to Earth 6160 for just, an adventure. He has to go and find his sister and get her home. He's got actual reasons to actually go there now. In the Ultimate Universe, Peter and Richard are out on patrol as the Spider-Men and take note at all of the different black holes popping up in the sky above them. Richard analyzes the portals with his suit and finds that it's alive and organic as Peter pushes him out of the way as a blast shoots out of one of the portals at them. I've been loving the Peter-Richard dynamic as dual Spider-Man, and I like that each of them fill a role only one Spider-Man usually does, especially over in the main universe, which is Richard is like the more technical genius focusing on tech, whereas Peter hasn't really shown that side of him yet. He's a great reporter and photographer, but he hasn't shown that kind of genius level intellect that Peter usually has. However, Richard has, and Peter is the more natural leader, the quippy hero, the older guy kind of guiding the younger guy sort of thing here with their two dynamic. It's a fun dynamic that we've never had with these characters because Richard's character doesn't exist in the main universe. The heroes soon learn who created these portals, the villain, the Spot, who is happy his plan worked and he was able to travel through the portals, knowing those who doubted him, specifically Tony Stark, will soon see he has real power. Now this feels like kind of film synergy-ish, it's the Spot, we're hopping multiverses, universes, there's multiple Spider-Man, feels very Spider-Verse related. The Spider-Men, never having fought any like this, can't land a hit on the villain, instead end up mostly hitting themselves or each other. Luckily, Miles soon arrives through his own portal, delivering a solid kick to the Spot's face. This is where things get interesting as Miles calls the villain the Spot because he knows who the Spot is, but the villain has no idea who or what the Spot is, which implies I guess this is the 6160 version of the Spot, and maybe he's one of the people that got one of Tony Stark's little cube things that gave him powers. Maybe that's how he got it, because he keeps talking about Stark and like getting power, and that's just something the Spot usually does where people think of him as a joke, but he's not really a joke villain at all. Miles makes short work of the Spot, much to the amazement of Spider-Man, specifically Richard, as they are quick to introduce themselves to this new Spider-Man. I love the interaction here since this is a Peter who's never had those moments like the team-ups with other people and other Spider-people, or heroes for that matter, so he doesn't really know how to act. He doesn't even have the classic, does whatever a spider can motto, so when Miles says it, he's like, kind of has to think about it for a moment. It's like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense, yeah. It's a great little thing that I've never actually considered, that this Spider-Man would never have anything like that, because he doesn't have those people around him that usually provide that, in for those things to happen. Miles fills them in on the multiversal shenanigans he's embroiled in, realizing things are a little different in this universe, and he even mistakes Richard, since he doesn't know it's Richard Parker, as Venom thanks to the black suit, figuring that in this universe Venom's a good guy. The heroes begin their search for little Billie across town in only a way a Spider-Man would, by literally just looking through building windows to see if they can see her. This scaring some of the people inside, and this is just such like something Peter would do, just go looking through building building windows, because like what else could they do? Richard also can't stop talking about Miles, finding him really cool. This is another neat dynamic that, thanks to Peter and Richard being new to this, Miles ends up being the one who's got more experience this time round. And I like how Richard is kind of infatuated with him in that regard, where he's like, oh, this guy like knows what he's doing, like the way he swings and everything, it looks like it's just an extension of body, and he's really cool in combat, and he knows how to handle himself. I like that Peter is also kind of a little emasculated by that. Like it's done in like a real jokingly way, but you can kind of tell it's kind of getting under Peter's skin a little bit, where his son just keeps calling this new guy, this new Spider-Man that's just shown up, as like the coolest Spider-Man he's ever seen. He kind of takes that personally, both as Spider-Man and as Richard's father. But I like how it's played in like this playful way where Peter just keeps harping on it. It's a very fun dynamic, and I love that we can just do this in this universe. As they joke and swing around the city, the Spot suddenly reappears, now deciding that the name the Spot is a good way to describe him. Miles is more annoyed than angry at the villain for showing up again, taking the villain out again very easily, proving himself to be Richard's favorite Spider-Man. While the heroes continue to search for Billie, the Maker's Cabal is alerted to two-dimensional incursions, one made by Spider-Man, the other by Sister. However, they don't really know what exactly made them. On top of identifying who is behind the incursion, they find that the technology that was used to make these incursions has the Maker's signature all over it. The Cabal take this as a sign that the Maker might have actually escaped Latveria earlier than anticipated, or maybe this is a great weapon he left behind that has finally arrived back on the Earth. Either way, every member of the Cabal wants whatever these incursions are for their own purposes. Up at the Triskelion, HQ of the Ultimates, the heroes also pick up on the Maker's signature in the incursions. Doom, however, knows this is not Maker though, since if it were, they would all be dead already. Captain America assigns two Ultimates to go and check it out, assuring Tony they can handle whatever this is, and besides, they were close by. Now this is some fun setup with everyone getting involved in Miles's plot, thinking that he's a weapon of some sort sent by the Maker, something that might be able to stop him or maybe even save the world. I also like the idea that all of the Cabal are sending their own people after them separate from each other. They're not doing it as a group, they're doing it as individuals, because that's the whole point of that Cabal. They want power over each other, so they're going to end up fighting each other, as well as, I imagine, Miles, the Ultimates, and Spider-Man, and whoever else gets involved in the plot. Spider-Man, meanwhile, realize they can't keep peeping in on people. They need to find a way to actually look for Billie properly, otherwise they'll just attract the wrong kind of attention. Miles wants to keep looking and goes invisible, which makes him looking cooler in the eyes of Richard, much to Peter's chagrin. After a few more hours, Peter wants to throw in the towel for the night, but Miles refuses to give up on his baby sister, deciding to go at it alone if they're not going to help him. Peter decides it's time to head home, something Richard doesn't want to do since he wants to still hang out with his cool new friend, but he has to remind the boy that it's a school night and it's past his bedtime. They made a deal, no Spider-Manning after bed. Peter and Richard leave for the night. Miles gets a chance to properly look around the world, using his invisibility to stay out of the sight of the roaming gangs of hand agents whom are out looking for him. I love how reserved this issue has been in its deployment of Miles in the Ultimate Universe. Like, Miles isn't just thrust into this world, mid-fight with the Ultimates and Banner or something else, and the entire issue isn't just a giant action sequence, Miles going from like set piece to set piece. He's getting accustomed to this world, a world that looks very similar to the one he just came from, but it has all these little changes that when he adds them up, he finds that, oh, this world is kind of fucked up and completely different than mine. Miles decides to head for Brooklyn, swinging by his family apartment, but another family live there, realizing that it's not even the same building, and it makes him question whether he actually exists in this world, or does his family just not exist at all. Miles continues his search and begins to realize that things are really different, finding billboards branding the Ultimates, heroes he all recognizes as the Avengers, as villains. Suddenly, Miles is captured by the Wasp and Ant-Man, who want to know if he's there to destroy the world or save it. So this is a cool little twist, as if you've been keeping up with the Ultimates by Dennis Camp, it was revealed that Wasp is actually a spy for Hand and Nick Fury, and I can't help but wonder if she's there for the Ultimates, or is she there for Hand, with Hank just kind of being that unknowing participant in all of this. An interesting situation to make her the one finds the thing that all of these people are after. So I can't help but think that maybe this is going to be some sort of a character moment for her as well, for her and Ant-Man, where maybe she decides like, no, I'm not going to trust the Hand anymore, I'm gonna, I'm all in on the Ultimates or something, or vice versa. It's a really interesting bit of character development you could do there with Wasp. It's not something I thought I'd get in an issue that's focused on Spider-Man. I'm also looking forward to Miles actually interacting with some of these heroes that, of course, he knows who they are in his universe, and like, is he going to be able to use some of that information to his benefit here and be able to get himself out of sticky situations? It's really cool and interesting interesting way that Camp and Ziegler have deployed this story around Miles and positioned him in the story, and I can't wait to see what they do with it. Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion 1 thrust us and Miles into the Ultimate Universe, a surprisingly reserved story centered around Miles' journey to rescue his baby sister. I really like seeing the dynamic Miles had with the two Ultimate Spider-Man, Peter and Richard Parker, and how for a change he has become the more experienced hero of the trio. It also led to some really great banter between Peter and Richard, something I've sorely missed, especially from Peter in recent years. I can't wait to see what the writers do with this character and how they further flesh out the Ultimate Universe as we itch ever so closer to the Maker making his grand return later on this year. I'm going to give this issue an 8 out of 10.